The clock struck 9 in the evening as Maria Gonzalez quietly unlocked the glass door of the Vertex Technologies building. Most of the workers had gone home by now, leaving behind messy desks, half-empty coffee cups, and trash cans overflowing with crumpled papers. This was Maria's world, the night shift where she became invisible to the people who worked here during the day. Maria pulled her cleaning cart from the supply closet and began her nightly routine. First the executive floor, then the marketing department, followed by the developers area with all those energy drink cans. She moved like a shadow through the empty halls, the sound of her cartwheels the only noise apart from the quiet hum of sleeping computers. At 52, Maria's hands showed signs of years of hard work, small calluses and a few age spots. But those same hands had once typed complex code and signed important business deals. Back in her home country, she had built a tech company from scratch, turning it into a success story that made local headlines. She had an engineering degree and a business degree hanging on her wall at home, hidden away from her current reality. What would these people think if they knew? She sometimes wondered, as she wiped fingerprints off the glass conference room where million-dollar decisions were made daily. Life had changed 10 years ago. Political problems in her country had forced her to flee with her 2 children, leaving behind her business, her savings, and her identity. Coming to America meant starting over completely. The fancy degrees from her country weren't recognized here, and without local experience or connections, doors remained firmly closed. "Mom, why don't you tell them about your background?" her daughter Lucia had asked once. Maria had simply smiled. "Sometimes it's better to watch and learn first," she had replied. And watch she did. For 3 years now, she had cleaned these offices, learning more about Vertex Technologies than perhaps anyone else. She knew which projects were failing because developers would leave stressed notes on whiteboards. She knew which managers were having affairs by the lipstick-stained coffee cups hidden under papers. And most importantly, she knew the company was making some bad decisions that nobody seemed brave enough to question. Tonight, as she dusted the photos on the wall showing the company's journey, she paused at one showing the current CEO shaking hands with investors. Tom Richards, with his perfect smile and expensive suit, looked nothing like the man she sometimes saw late at night, shouting into his phone about cooking the books or hiding problems from the board. As she moved to empty his trash can, Maria noticed a document left on his desk. Normally, she never read papers, it wasn't her business, and she respected privacy. But the heading caught her eye. Project Phoenix Termination, Staff Cuts. Her heart sank. Project Phoenix was the work of the development team on the 3rd floor, young people who stayed late, ordering pizza and working passionately on what they believed was the company's future. Now their jobs were at risk, and from what she could see, not because their work was bad, but because the CEO wanted to show cost-cutting measures to boost his year-end bonus. Maria carefully placed the document exactly as she had found it. As she continued her cleaning rounds, she thought about all she had seen in this company, the good and the bad. The talented workers who believed in what they were building. The executives who treated the cleaning staff like they were truly invisible, not worthy of a simple good evening or thank you. What no one at Vertex knew was that Maria hadn't just been cleaning for 3 years. She had been watching, learning, and slowly, carefully investing the small savings she managed to put aside into Vertex stock when it was still affordable. With help from an old business friend who had also immigrated years earlier, she had built a surprising position in the company. As she finished cleaning the last office around 2 a.m., Maria looked out at the city lights. Tomorrow would be another day of being invisible. But someday soon, everything would change. Little did they know, the woman they barely noticed held more power than any of them could imagine. Maria arrived at work earlier than usual on Tuesday night. The cleaning supervisor had called in sick, so she'd agreed to cover more floors. As she pushed her cart toward the elevator, she noticed lights still on in the main conference room. The weekly executive meeting was running late. She quietly began cleaning the nearby hallway, keeping her distance from the glass-walled room where Tom Richards, the CEO, sat at the head of the table surrounded by his team. They were laughing loudly, champagne glasses in hand. Must be celebrating something big, Maria thought. The heavy door wasn't fully closed, and voices carried into the hallway. "Did you see that cleaning lady trying to use the fancy coffee machine this morning?" a woman's voice said. Maria recognized her as Pamela, the marketing director, always dressed in designer clothes that probably cost more than Maria earned in a month. Oh God, yes. She pressed like 5 buttons before realizing she needed a company badge to make it work. Tom replied, his voice carrying that mocking tone Maria had heard it many times before. These people should stick to what they know. Mops and trash cans, not espresso machines. Another executive added, triggering more laughter. Maria's cheeks burned with embarrassment and anger. That morning, she had come in early to finish some paperwork for her supervisor and had indeed tried to make coffee. No one had bothered to tell the cleaning staff they weren't allowed to use the machine that everyone else enjoyed freely. I still think we should outsource all janitorial services, Tom continued, swirling his champagne. We're paying these people too much for what they do. I mean, they should be grateful we don't replace them with robots already. More laughter followed as Maria's heart pounded in her chest. She'd heard rumors about potential outsourcing, but hadn't realized the CEO himself was pushing for it. That would mean everyone on her team would lose their jobs, including George, who was putting his daughter through college, and May, who had just signed a lease on a new apartment, to cutting costs and boosting profits. Tom raised his glass, and the others joined in the toast. Maria quietly moved her card away, her hands trembling slightly. She finished the whole way quickly and moved to the next floor, where most employees had gone home. As she emptied trash cans in the developers area, her mind kept repeating the executive's words. Over the next few days, Maria noticed more examples of the company's toxic culture. In the break room, she overheard 2 middle managers talking. Did you see that cleaning lady's shoes? They're so worn out, they look like they've been through a war, one said. Maybe that's the fashion where she comes from, the other replied with a smirk. You know how these people are. They hadn't even bothered to lower their voices, as if Maria couldn't understand English or simply didn't matter enough to be considered. On Friday night, Maria found herself cleaning Tom's office while he was on a late conference call in the next room. His voice came through the thin walls clearly as he spoke to what sounded like board members. Trust me, we'll hit our targets this quarter. I've already identified unnecessary expenses to cut, he said confidently. The cleaning crew is first on my list. We can hire a cheaper service and save at least 30%. Maria froze, duster in hand. Then her eyes fell on a document on Tom's desk labeled Confidential, Q3 Financial Review. She normally never looked at company papers, but something made her glance at the page. What she saw shocked her. The numbers didn't match what Tom was telling the board. The company was doing much better than he claimed, yet he was still pushing for cuts that would affect the lowest paid workers. That night, Maria made a decision. She pulled out her phone and texted her old friend Anna. I need to meet with those board contacts of yours. It's time. As she locked up the building at 3 a.m., Maria felt something she hadn't felt in years, the same determination that had once helped her build her own company. These people thought she was nothing, but they had no idea who they were really dealing with. The game was about to change. The small coffee shop 2 blocks from Maria's apartment was nearly empty on Sunday afternoon. She stirred her tea slowly, waiting. When the bell above the door jingled, she looked up to see Anna walking in, dressed in a casual blazer and jeans. You look worried, Anna said, sitting down across from Maria. I am, Maria admitted, but also angry and ready. Anna had been Maria's lifeline when she first arrived in this country. They had met at the immigration office, both holding folders of paperwork. Anna had come 15 years earlier and now worked for an investment firm. She was the only person who knew Maria's full story and the only one who knew about Maria's secret investment in Vertex Technologies. Tell me everything, Anna said, signaling for coffee. Maria explained what she'd overheard in the executive meeting and what she'd seen in the financial documents. They're lying to their own board, Anna, and planning to fire good people who need those jobs, all while the company is actually making more money than ever. Anna nodded thoughtfully. You've been watching this company for 3 years now. You probably know more about what really happens there than anyone else. That's the thing about being invisible, Maria said with a slight smile. No one watches what they say around you. No one hides documents when you enter a room. They don't even think you understand English half the time. Anna opened her laptop. Let's review where we stand. The screen showed Maria's investment portfolio. What had started as a few shares purchased with her modest savings had grown considerably. Through Anna's guidance and Maria's own sharp business instincts, she had invested every spare dollar when the company's stock dipped. Additionally, a small inheritance from her uncle had come at just the right time last year, allowing her to buy more shares during a temporary market downturn. "You now own just over 5% of Vertex," Anna said. "That makes you one of their largest individual shareholders." Maria stared at the number on the screen. It seemed impossible. When she was mopping floors at 2 a.m., it was hard to believe she was also a major company owner. "And that gives me rights, yes?" Maria asked, though she already knew the answer. She had been studying American corporate law during her limited free time. "Yes, especially combined with what we've been quietly building." Anna clicked to another screen showing a list of names. "These board members and investors have been growing concerned about Tom's leadership. They just didn't have enough inside information to act. Your observations give them what they need." Maria took a deep breath. "I never wanted to cause trouble. I just wanted to build something again, like I did back home." "This isn't causing trouble," Anna insisted. "This is fixing a broken system. You're protecting jobs and the company's future." Maria nodded slowly. She thought about Louis, the night janitor who sang quietly to himself while working to stay awake because he also drove a taxi during the day to support his family. She thought about the young programmers who poured their hearts into projects that Tom might cancel just to make quarterly numbers look better. "I need to be careful," Maria said. "If they discover I'm buying shares before I'm ready to reveal myself." "We've been careful," Anna reassured her. "The investments are through my firm's channels. There's no easy way to connect them to you." They spent the next hour planning. Maria would continue gathering information, documenting everything she observed. Anna would arrange a private meeting with key board members when the time was right. As they left the coffee shop, Anna hugged Maria. "Your mother would be proud of you." Maria thought of her mother, who had cleaned houses to put Maria through college. "She always told me that true power isn't about having a fancy title. It's about knowing when and how to use what you have." Walking home, Maria felt a strange mix of emotions. Tomorrow, she would go back to being the invisible cleaning lady. But now, every trash can she emptied, every conversation she overheard had new meaning. She was building a case, piece by piece. The same skills that had helped her create a tech company from nothing were now being put to a different use. Patience, observation, strategy. The very people who mocked her would soon discover just who they had been laughing at. The hallways of Vertex Technologies buzzed with unusual energy when Maria arrived for her night shift. Something big had happened. Workers huddled in small groups, whispering with worried faces. No one paid attention to the cleaning lady who quietly began her rounds, ears perked up. "Complete disaster," she heard one developer say. The whole system crashed during the demo. Maria moved her cart closer to the break room, where several tired-looking employees nursed coffee cups well past 7 p.m. 2 years of work, down the drain. A woman in glasses sighed. "And Tom's blaming us for rushing the launch when he's the one who pushed the deadline." Another person chimed in. "Did you see the stock price? Dropped 15% in hours." Maria's heart raced. Project Phoenix, the company's major new product that was supposed to revolutionize their industry, had failed during its public launch earlier that day. No wonder everyone looked so stressed. She moved through the building, gathering more bits of the story. The demonstration for major clients and press had gone horribly wrong. The system had frozen, then displayed sensitive test data on the big screen. Tom Richards, the CEO, had stumbled through excuses before ending the event early. In the developers area, Maria emptied trash cans overflowing with energy drink cans and takeout containers. The team had clearly been working non-stop. "I warned him the security protocol wasn't ready," a young programmer told his colleague, not noticing Maria nearby. "I put it in writing 3 times that we needed another month of testing." "Doesn't matter now," his friend replied. "Tom's already telling the board it was our fault." Lay got called upstairs and came back looking like she'd seen a ghost. "They're preparing layoffs." Maria moved on to the executive floor, where the lights still burned in several offices despite the late hour. As she approached Tom's corner office, she heard raised voices. "You need to fix this, not find someone to blame." It was Patricia from the board of directors. Maria recognized her voice from previous visits. "I am fixing it," Tom snapped back. "I'm cutting dead weight and restructuring the team. By the time the quarterly report comes out, we'll have a new narrative about streamlining operations." "That's not a fix, that's a cover-up," Patricia said. Maria slowed her movements, pretending to dust the nearby cabinets while listening. "Look," Tom's voice dropped, "this stays in this room, but I've been moving some funds around to protect our key investments. If we show too big a loss this quarter, we're all in trouble." Maria's ears perked up. Moving funds around? That sounded a lot like cooking the books, something illegal that could hurt the company even more. Later that night, when most of the offices were finally empty, Marina found herself alone in Tom's suite. His assistant had left papers on the desk for him to sign in the morning. Termination notices for 12 employees, including Lai from the development team, who had warned about the security issues. Next to these was a folder marked Project Phoenix Recovery Plan. Maria hesitated. She never touched papers on desks, but this could be important. She carefully opened the folder. Inside was Tom's real plan: blame the development team publicly, cut 20% of staff, and use accounting tricks to hide the financial damage. Most shocking was a document showing how Tom had actually ignored written warnings about the product's readiness. He was planning to delete these records to protect himself. Maria quickly took photos of the documents with her phone. Her hands trembled slightly. This was much worse than she'd thought. She finished her shift in a daze, thinking about all the hardworking people about to lose their jobs unfairly. The company she had invested in was being destroyed from within by its own leader. That night, Maria couldn't sleep. At 3 a.m., she sent a text to Anna: "Emergency. Need to meet board members now. Have proof of serious wrongdoing." By morning, wheels were in motion that would change everything at Vertex Technologies. The invisible cleaning lady was about to step into the light, and nothing would ever be the same. The emergency board meeting was set for 9 a.m. on Thursday. Maria had never taken a day off in 3 years, but today she called her supervisor claiming she had a fever. In truth, her stomach was in knots, but not from illness, from nerves. She stood in front of her small bathroom mirror, hardly recognizing herself. Gone was the plain cleaning uniform. Instead, she wore a simple but elegant navy blue suit that Anna had helped her pick out the day before. Her hair, usually hidden under a cap or tied back severely, now framed her face in a professional bob. "You look like a boss," her daughter Lucia had said that morning, eyes wide with pride and surprise. Maria touched the small folder in her bag containing the evidence she had gathered and the legal documents Anna had prepared. 3 years of being invisible, of listening and watching while being treated as less than human, had led to this moment. The Vertex Technologies building looked different in the morning light as Maria approached the front entrance rather than the service door she usually used. The security guard did a double take as she requested a visitor badge. "Name?" he asked, not recognizing her without the cleaning uniform. "Maria Gonzalez. I'm here for the board meeting." He checked his list, eyebrows rising slightly. "Oh, yes, Ms. Gonzalez. 14th floor, main conference room." The elevator ride felt endless. Maria took deep breaths, remembering how she had once led her own company, how she had once stood confidently in boardrooms. She could do this again. When the doors opened, Anna was waiting for her. "Ready?" Anna asked, squeezing her hand. "As I'll ever be," Maria replied. The conference room fell silent when they walked in. 8 board members sat around the large table, with Tom Richards at the head, mid-sentence about recovery strategies. His mouth froze open when he saw Anna. "What is she doing here?" he asked, pointing at Anna. "This is a closed meeting." "Ms. Wang is here as financial counsel for a major shareholder," Patricia from the board explained calmly. Tom's face reddened. "What major shareholder? Everyone's represented here already." That's when he noticed Maria standing quietly behind Anna. His eyes passed over her without recognition, then snapped back in confusion. "Allow me to introduce Maria Gonzalez," Patricia said, her voice carrying a hint of satisfaction. "She holds over 5% of Vertex Technology shares." The room erupted in murmurs. Tom squinted at Maria, then his eyes widened in shock. "The cleaning lady," he stammered. Maria stepped forward, setting her folder on the table. Her heart hammered, but her voice came out steady. Yes, Mr. Richards, the cleaning lady who has watched this company grow for 3 years. The invisible person who heard every conversation you thought was private. The woman you mocked for trying to use the coffee machine. The blood drained from Tom's face as recognition fully hit him. This is ridiculous, he sputtered, looking around for support. She can't be a major shareholder. She empties our trash cans. And yet, here are her verified stock certificates, Patricia said, sliding papers across the table. Ms. Gonzalez contacted several of us last night with concerns about company management. Given her significant position and the serious nature of her allegations, we agreed to this meeting. Maria opened her folder and began distributing copies of the documents she had photographed. The termination notices for employees who had tried to warn about product issues, the financial manipulations, the cover-up plans. Mr. Richards has been falsifying reports to this board, she explained, her accent more noticeable due to nerves but her words precise. He pushed forward a product launch despite written warnings from the development team. Now he plans to fire the very people who tried to prevent this disaster. The board members leaned forward, examining the evidence with increasing alarm. How did you get these documents? Tom demanded, face now crimson with anger. Maria met his eyes steadily. I didn't steal them, if that's what you're suggesting. They were left out in the open. The thing about being treated as invisible is that people forget you can see. Patricia cleared her throat. Ms. Gonzalez has also brought to our attention some concerning financial irregularities that warrant immediate investigation. Tom looked around the table desperately, but found no allies. The board members' faces had hardened as they reviewed Maria's evidence. I believe, Patricia continued, we need to discuss leadership changes, effective immediately. Tom's face went from red to white as the board members continued reviewing Maria's evidence. His eyes darted around like a trapped animal's. This is all a misunderstanding, he tried, his voice losing its usual confidence. These documents don't show the full picture. I think they show quite enough, said Patricia, tapping a finger on a paper showing financial transfers. Moving company funds to personal accounts isn't something that needs more context, Tom. Another board member, a gray-haired man with glasses, looked up from the termination notices. You were planning to fire the very people who warned you about the product issues, and then delete their warnings from the system. Maria stood quietly, watching the man who had mocked her and her co-workers for years now squirming under the board's questions. Part of her felt satisfaction, but mostly she felt sad that it had come to this. I move that we vote immediately on Tom's position as CEO, Patricia said firmly. You can't be serious, Tom protested, standing up. You're going to take the word of a cleaning lady over mine? I built this company. The room fell silent at his outburst. Maria stepped forward. Yes, Mr. Richards, a cleaning lady who also happens to be an engineer with a business degree, who once ran her own tech company and who owns 5% of Vertex shares. The same cleaning lady who heard you laugh about replacing us with robots because we're paid too much for what we do. Tom's mouth opened and closed without words coming out. The vote is unanimous, Patricia announced after papers were passed around the table. Thomas Richards is hereby removed as CEO of Vertex Technologies, effective immediately. What happened next seemed to move in slow motion for Maria. Security was called. Tom was asked to surrender his company badge and laptop. His face twisted with rage as he pointed at Maria. You'll regret this, all of you. As security escorted him to clear out his desk, the remaining executives and board members sat in stunned silence. Maria felt their eyes on her, no longer looking through her, but truly seeing her for the first time. Ms. Gonzalez, Patricia finally said, I believe we owe you an apology, many apologies in fact. Maria shook her head. I don't want apologies. I want change. Word spread through the building like wildfire. By noon, everyone knew that Tom had been fired, but the rumors about why varied wildly. Some said he had been stealing money. Others said there was a hostile takeover. No one suspected the truth yet. Maria walked through the halls beside Patricia as they headed to address the executive team. People stared in confusion at the familiar face in unfamiliar clothes. Isn't that? A young programmer whispered to her friend. The cleaning lady, her friend confirmed, eyes wide with disbelief. In the large meeting room, the company's top managers had gathered, anxiety clear on their faces. When Maria walked in with the board members, Pamela from marketing gasped out loud. "What is she doing here?" Pamela asked, the same woman who had laughed about Maria not knowing how to use the coffee machine. Patricia stepped forward. "I'd like to introduce someone many of you have seen but few of you have noticed. This is Maria Gonzalez, one of our largest individual shareholders and the person who brought serious management issues to the board's attention." The room erupted in whispers and confused looks. Maria took a deep breath and faced the group. "For 3 years, I cleaned your offices while rebuilding my life. I heard how some of you spoke about the invisible people who emptied your trash. I saw how this company's culture changed from innovative and inclusive to toxic and dishonest." She met Pamela's shocked gaze directly. "I saw talented employees being mistreated and blamed for failures that weren't their fault." A heavy silence fell over the room as her words sank in. Some people looked away in shame, recognizing their own behavior in her description. "Ms. Gonzalez will be working closely with the board during this transition," Patricia explained. "All planned layoffs are on hold pending review." As they left the meeting, a young man approached Maria hesitantly. She recognized him as one of the developers who often worked late, always saying hello to her when others didn't. "I just wanted to say, this is amazing," he said, genuine respect in his eyes. "You saw everything that was wrong when nobody else could." Maria smiled. "Sometimes you see the most when people think you're not looking." By evening, Maria's story had spread to every corner of the building. The woman they had considered invisible had become the most talked about person in the company. The cleaning lady who fired the CEO. 3 months after the dramatic boardroom showdown, Vertex Technologies was a different place. The building looked the same from the outside, but inside, everything had changed. Maria sat in a comfortable office on the executive floor, reviewing applications, not for cleaning positions, but for the new CEO role. After Tom's removal, the board had asked Maria to step in temporarily while they searched for permanent leadership. No one knew the company's strengths and weaknesses better than she did. A knock on her door made her look up. George, her former cleaning supervisor, stood there with a smile. "Still feels weird to see you here," he said with a friendly laugh. Maria smiled back. "Sometimes it feels weird to me too." In her first week as interim CEO, Maria had made several bold decisions. She cancelled the outsourcing of cleaning services, instead making all maintenance staff full employees with benefits. She brought back the engineers who had warned about Project Phoenix's problems and put them in charge of fixing it. Most importantly, she started breaking down the walls between different levels of employees. "The lunch program is working great," Georgie told her. "Having executives eat with the rest of us once a week was a small change, but it's making a big difference." Maria nodded, remembering how invisible she had felt in the old days. Now, everyone from the newest janitor to the top executives knew each other by name. "How's the night crew doing with their English classes?" she asked. "Loving it. Chen is already helping translate user guides into Mandarin for the international team." These were small changes that cost the company almost nothing but meant everything to the people who had previously been treated as invisible. Maria checked her watch. "The board meeting starts soon. You'll be there." George nodded. It had been Maria's idea to have representatives from every department attend board meetings, not just executives, but people from all levels who could share their perspective. The conference room buzzed with energy as people took their seats. Patricia called the meeting to order. "First, the financial update," she announced. "I'm pleased to report that Vertex's stock has recovered completely from the Phoenix disaster." A cheer went around the table. In just 3 months, the company had turned things around. The fixed version of Project Phoenix had launched successfully 2 weeks ago, with the very engineers Tom had planned to fire leading the effort. "And now, the main item on our agenda," Patricia continued. "The CEO search committee has completed its work and is ready to make a recommendation." Maria folded her hands on the table. She had helped with the search, but had stepped back from the final decision, knowing her temporary role would soon end. She had already decided to join the board of directors, but was looking forward to having more time with her family again. After interviewing many qualified candidates, Patricia said, "Our unanimous recommendation is Maria Gonzalez." Maria's head snapped up in surprise. The room burst into applause before she could speak. "But I was just helping during the transition," she stammered. "I never applied for the permanent position." Patricia smiled. "That's exactly why you're perfect for it. You didn't seek power for its own sake. You stepped up because it was needed." A young developer raised her hand. "The engineering team fully supports this. Maria understands both the business side and the human side of the company." George nodded. "And she's proven that treating everyone with respect actually makes the company more successful." Maria looked around at the faces watching her. People who once had looked right through her, people who had mocked her accent or her worn shoes, now looking at her with genuine respect and even admiration. "I need to think about it," she said honestly. "This wasn't my plan." Later that evening, Maria called her daughter Lucia to discuss the offer. "Remember what you told me when we first came to this country?" Lucia asked. "You said sometimes life takes everything from you so you can build something better." Maria smiled, remembering those dark days when they had first arrived with nothing. "You've changed that company, Mom," Lucia continued. "People who never had a voice now have one because of you." That night, Maria stood by her apartment window, thinking about the journey from cleaning floors to running the company, from being invisible to being seen, from being mocked to being respected. The next morning, she accepted the position. 6 months later, Vertex Technologies was featured in business magazines not just for its successful products, but for its revolutionary workplace culture where every employee from the cleaning staff to the CEO was valued, heard, and respected. The company that once mocked the cleaning lady now proudly told her story as their greatest strength.